All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Green and White Checker TV, and a happy early Halloween, as we will be again off on Thursday night, as we'll be either getting candy, giving candy, or hopefully one of the or the other. But yeah, hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday evening. And yeah, so tonight we have Area 51 Gen 4 Super Speedway Series here tonight back at Daytona to start race number 5. Again, we are now officially halfway through the regular season, and that means after this tonight will start the second quarter or third, if you will, of it, or actually second half, I should say, of the regular season, then leading into that 4-race playoffs. So basically, this is round number 2 back at the tracks. So yes, we've done all the tracks: Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega, and iRacing Super Speedway. So now we're back here at Daytona one more time. So as always, 75 laps will be our scheduled distance. One fast pair, 3 green white checkers are available to the drivers. And right now, as of the 4 races, Vicente Guerrero is our points leader by 19 points over second place, which is now Gabe Butler. And Gabe's got a 12-point margin over Nick Wing. But Matt, I'm looking at the entry list. I'm not seeing a Nick Wing at the moment. I'm not seeing a Vicente. So it could be an opportunity for some of these guys like a Jacob Lee. He's sitting in 4th, Eric Laurie in 5th. They could jump up into that top 3 or 4 spots because, again, I believe top 12, if I'm not mistaken, will be the playoff drivers. So it could come to play. There will be one drop week. Do need to mention that. So for those that don't make it tonight that have maybe made all the races up to this point, that would be their drop week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes. I know a few drivers were trying to get their, I think Discord was having some issues for Eric Laurie. Hopefully that gets squared away. And then, yeah, I mean, again, looking at the names and the numbers and everything like that, say some of our regulars, and saying I already saw one fun Halloween scheme. I have a feeling Bud's probably got one too. Haven't peeked over at that one yet. But yeah, say it's going to be fun to see what these guys have in store for us tonight. Also talked to some of the drivers during the practice session, and I'm hearing fuel mileage is right around 27, maybe 28ish. So basically, under green flag conditions, pretty much guaranteed 2 stops from start to finish. So we won't see any fuel saving, anything like that. These guys will be able to kind of just go full send from start to finish. So I'm sure a lot of drivers very happy about that. And again, we've talked about that. Admins saw it, made some adjustments, and that way they can put on the best show that is possible for everybody. And Paige, good evening. Yep, say definitely hoping for a good race for Zach and for Jason. Say right now it looks like neither have put down a qualifying lap as of yet, but again, still got about a minute and a half left to go. So we'll see if it's a strategy thing, or maybe they're going to try to maybe start a little bit further back, stay out of trouble, and then make a move. We'll have to wait and see. But Matt, I say we know these tracks very well. Daytona, Talladega, very similar, but at the same time, still kind of their own different animals. And just obviously, the biggest to me is just the fact that the width of the track. I think it's an 8-foot difference, but when you're racing on track, I feel like those 8 feet feel like 20 feet, just because I feel so much more comfortable in that third lane at Talladega compared to here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's very different. It kind of makes me scared. Or I tried to attempt to go 3 wide. I can imagine some of these guys who attempt to go 3 wide are kind of biting tooth and nail if they actually, just being careful and try to hold their line as best as they can. I'm looking at the top of the leaderboard in qualifying. I think a certain somebody. It's not a surprise you see who up top.
Yeah, so I've still got a couple guys on track. We'll see if someone can pull off a surprise lap and dethrone. But also, the other thing, Matt, is these cars, these Gen 4s, will say that they were kind of nicknamed the Twisted Sister because the way these bodies were skewed. And so, I mean, the right rear, it sticks out a little further than the right front. So also possibility on that one is it's really easy to get that right rear hooked into the wall, and that pulls your right front into the wall. And then I say, just unfortunately, one of those things kind of with iRacing is it's kind of called the sticky wall. You kind of get hooked up into it, and sometimes a little hard to pull yourself back off of it. So just a few things these drivers are going to have to be aware of and kind of keep an eye out for, I feel like, this evening.
Speaking of that, qualifying is concluded.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Qualifying just finishing up here. So what we are going to do is we're going to pull up our starting grid for tonight. And as Matt was alluding to, on pole position is going to be a huge surprise. And that is going to be that number 88 of Gabe Butler on pole position here in that number 88 machine. Next to him, Jack Walls in the 83. Then Robert Hooligan, Tom Dixon, Rick Sanchez are top 5. Ed DeBoer, Bud Steele, Jacob Lee, Eric Lurie, and Dean Wilkinson are top 10. Colby Brooks, Dude Conrad, 11th and 12th. Continuing down, you've got Frank Ranger Jr., Mike Rimkus, Jason Bogart, Zach Perry, Nathan Warner, Matt with a really slow lap there, only 4.5 seconds off the top time. Might need to get a new engine there, Matt. And then Jim Brooks going to be starting shotgun there, 19th. So we'll have 18 cars officially starting the grid unless Matt tries to sneak in there and get himself in trouble with the other drivers. We'll keep an eye and see if we see him on track. But yeah, Matt, I say so. Just under 20 drivers here tonight. As always, we kind of peek around at the Discord, look to see maybe who's working with drivers. So I'm looking at, I do see Jacob Lee, Jason Bogart, Zach Perry, Frank Ranger, and Nathan Warner, Dude Conrad, and Gabe Butler. Add Eric Lurie to the mix, but I think, again, he's having some Discord difficulties. Also, you got then Bud Steele, EJ DeBoer, or Ed DeBoer in this case, Jack Walls, Quabi Brooks, and Jim Brooks. And then also, I don't see him in the Discord right now, but I know Rick looks like he's rolling solo in the voice chat at the moment. We'll see if he jumps in anywhere else. But then also, I can tell you, I'm sure Dean Wilkinson working with Tom Dixon as well on the TW team side of things. And possibly Mike Rimkus. Not 100% sure where Mike kind of hangs out. However, field is rolling off. You see Gabe Butler going to lead the field here for the warm-up lap. And again, these guys are going to be running 75 laps are scheduled distance. There are potential for those 3 green-white checkers. Again, all these drivers do have that one fast repair should they need it. And again, it's going to be kind of all that planning and trying to figure out if and when to use it. Matt, I'm going to spy on some of these paint schemes. I saw some fun ones right off the bat. Tom Dixon was one right here. And it looks like he's got the Green Goblin on the nose and side of that number 411. So he's got a really good one there. A little further back, I'd mentioned Dean Wilkinson. That's a creepy one. That's a well done one there. Hopefully Dean's not going to add too much more blood splatter on that car. So I think those may be the main Halloween ones. Actually, it looks like, unless I missed it, but I think right now it's showing Bud Steele in that navy machine. So really nice looking paint scheme though for him. But yeah, it looks like our 2 Halloween cars will be Tom Dixon and Dean Wilkinson. So really love to see that. And who knows, we might see some next week as well, because it won't be that far after Halloween. So we'll see, maybe we get some post-Halloween paint schemes as well.
We'll probably leave it as it is. Yes. Now, mine does have kind of orange, but it's not many people like it, but that's okay.
As long as you like it.
I think I was told by some of the drivers that the restart zone is active.
Oh, that could be interesting. So, and that's something to mention though, and I mean, it shouldn't be an issue because, again, the way they do things here in iRacing is, or I should say in this league, is pretty much usually in general everybody starts on green, especially the plate races. But what we'll see is we'll try to get a good angle of it here. What you will see is you're going to see that blue box here that Gabe's just about to drive into. That is going to be that restart zone. So basically for Gabe, he have to start somewhere within that zone. But however, on the initial green flag, it is on the green. And so I think it should avoid any drama. And we got admins here. They'll take care of it, and it should be no problem. But a little bit of a hiccup there from Rick Sanchez. That or he's trying to drop back early on. But he started, I believe, 5th. And he's already back to about the 10th or so spot. So not the start he was looking for, but up front, Gabe's going to get a good shove off the kick here from Robert Hooligan behind him. And now everybody's starting to get themselves organized. Jack Wall's got some help now from Dean Wilkinson right behind, as well as Tom Dixon there. Again, no bonus points or anything like that for leading laps, just kind of maybe being up front, kind of brownie points, if you will. Just being up front, maybe hopefully staying out of trouble. But yeah, right now it looks like Dean's kind of just cruise control, Matt, from what I'm... Or sorry, Dean, Rick is just cruise control. No, sorry, I was watching the 55 cars we were talking. So yeah, so right now the top 4 drivers here running about that 2x2, singling out a little bit right around Dude Conrad. Again, fuel's not an issue, so these guys can of course save some extra fuel should they choose to. Just maybe go a lap extra, or maybe have maybe a shorter pit stop at the very end. But other than that, there's really no need for these guys to kind of do any aggressive saving. But right now, talk about the aggressiveness though. Let's say I was watching that 88, 83. They were pretty tight to each other, door to door there through 3 and 4.
Yeah, no reason to be pretty tight. You know, this early line, we're on lap 2 and we got 75 to go. Hell, heck, shout out to about 2002 Dale Jr. He won't listen to you.
Yeah, you can see Gabe's right on the line, and you can see where the 8355 are. So again, they got plenty of real estate up top, but you don't want to use it. You want to try to run kind of the shortest line you can run, and that's what we're seeing right now out of those guys. And add to the mix there, so we mentioned the fan over in the chat there with Paige rooting on that Jason Bogart as well as Zach Perry. And I say Jason's on his way there as he is now up into 7th, 8 spots gained already. And we've got Jamie cheering on or predicting, I should say, Bud Steele and that Navy machine gonna go for the win tonight. So we'll see if that prediction comes to fruition. But like I said, yeah, right now just kind of a couple different strategies. A lot of these guys up front want to go early and try to be towards the front. 53 of Quabi Brooks on back, Frank Ranger, Jim Brooks, Rick Sanchez. They are full cruise control here early on, so definitely have to keep an eye on them. So right now, Matt, the 83, 88, 126, right about where they qualified. So they've all kind of been holding station. Dean Wilkinson, like I mentioned, he's one that did gain a handful of spots. He's up 6 spots already from 10th to 4th. As they never so often, it'll ebb and flow with that push if he clears, or I should say gets a nose ahead of the 126. And for a split, I thought he was going to maybe try to go underneath Jack there for a second. But again, that might be, these guys, they got to make sure that they keep these temperatures in good shape as well. So that's going to be something we also will be keeping an eye on, as these guys got to make sure that the water temps, oil temps, they don't get it too hot. That was close there between the 55 and the 126 there out of turn 4. And saying that's always the risk too, is again, you drift a little bit off. One guy might move up, one might move down, kind of get hooked together. So they said these guys definitely have to be on their toes still.
Yeah, these cars really realistically are not really that, as me as a driver, as I've driven these things, but they're not as much temperature sensitive as, say, the truck or the Xfinity car. You can stay on the back for a very long time for these cars before they actually start getting really hot. So you do have some leeway. They actually cool down quick too.
That's definitely what the driver is going to be hoping for sure. But yeah, right now at the line, you see Jack Wells just a nose ahead, but actually at the line, it was still Gabe that had the point. Again, though, we still got plenty of time to go in this one. Probably about 20 more laps till the pit stop window even opens. So, like I said, right now these guys just, I'm not going to say just riding, because I mean, you can see again how close the 83. Oh, Dean Wilkinson catch the wall. We got trouble in the front.
We got wrecked. That's
Multiple cars involved. Caution is out. Still cars getting hooked around there. You see 3 of them got through, but that's about it. A bunch of other cars possibly caught up in this one.
That all started with Dean Wilkinson catching the wall. I think it's right off. I think that's right off of turn number 2.
Saying you get hooked on that wall, you can see the damage to the 8 there, the 411. You can see how far off their noses now, or the splitter, I should say, is off of the track as well. So, yeah, Nathan Warner caught up in it. A lot of cars with a fair bit of damage here. Let's go back again, though, and I think you're exactly right, Matt. I think, unfortunately for Dean, I think he just caught the outside wall. Actually, we got to go a little further back here. We're going to focus back on that 55 machine. And, yeah, you can already see it occurring, so we'll go back a little further. And, yeah, it was exactly like you said, Matt. Dean just kind of got hooked up into the outside wall. Let's see I'm wondering if maybe there's a little bit of contact that maybe through, or I almost looks like right there he almost reacted to the 83, 88 being so close. But you see right here, he gets stuck into wall. I mean, Tom Dixon, there's nothing Tom can do. He's just right on the back of him, and that's going to loop Tom around in front of the 17. Oh, Jacob Lee gets hooked around, didn't catch that one initially either. And then yeah, these guys just kind of pinballing off each other. So pretty big shot there for Jacob as well. Saw Ed DeBoer there. He got some contact. Oh, Eric Laurie as well. That car, does he get it hooked back to the right? He does. Good job by Eric there, because that could have been really bad for him.
Favorite son got the worst of it.
Oh, right there. Yeah, big shot by DeBoer. Look at the 17 there as well, Frank Ranger. And I think Jim Brooks, though, just snuck by there somehow and all of that. So, but yeah, Matt, now it's that question time of, do I take a fast repair or not for some of these drivers up front? Obviously, these guys got through fairly unscathed, so they should be okay. We know Dean Wilkinson's going to need a little bit of damage repairs done to his car. You see Jacob Lee as well in the 21. He's got some crumpled fenders. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye and see kind of how things look. But I think if you have the option to fix, at least give it a chance and see. So we'll have to keep an eye on some of those guys.
See, there's where I kind of like draw the line, and I get really weary of it. So you don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah,
See,
no, exactly right.
Yeah, exactly. See, I've gotten into races where in these cars, see, it could be like 8 seconds or 28 seconds. Come to find out, that little minor damage you had, 6 minutes. You never know, and that's the risk you take for if you want to use your fast repair now, or wait till later. I see Dean Wilkinson it looks like he opted not to.
Well, like right now, I'm watching the 071 Eric Laurie, Matt, and if it's accurate, that right front tire is completely skewed. We'll get a better look at it here, but it's just something on the right side does not look correct on Eric Laurie's machine. We'll let it go here, but to me it looks like that wheel's pointed outwards.
Yeah,
right here you can get a really good view. You can see how towed out it is.
You're right. Yeah, look at that. Oh my goodness.
So those are the things that are a little concerning. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, now these guys, though, they got to be careful and not wait too long. And yeah, here you go. You can see them start to hustle out here because they got to make sure they ideally don't get trapped a lap down. Looks like no takers for drivers to hit pit road up front to top off. Rick will be the first to do so in the 5 as we do get down to the 1 to go. So I'm going to watch Eric Laurie. He is back on pit road because, right there, just it's almost like the whole suspension got knocked out wrong there. That car is not tracking straight. I think we'll see a fast repair go here. Yep, there he goes. I think that's unfortunately the right call for Eric. You never want to have to burn it this early, but I think he had to at that point. That car was not going to track straight, and that had been a mess to try to drive.
It's kind of weird because you look at the car, looks pretty, clean.
It looked clean. Other than that, other than the right front pointing out to the outside wall, everything looked really good on that car. But yeah. So is the Arkansas lean the reverse of the Carolina squat? I don't know all these terms. I'm not with it. But so yeah, Matt, looks like we have the top 6 drivers went ahead and pitted just the first time. We are going to have a few drivers that are going to try to catch back up because, again, they stayed on pit road for a long time to get damage repaired. So drivers like Dude Conrad, Frank Ranger Jr., they might have to pass a few guys that topped off on the 1 to go. So we'll have to see if they can get themselves organized as well, along with these guys here like a Jason Bogart, Tom Dixon. I'll say again, and these guys are trying to hustle up to the field to make sure that they can get in position. But I'm saying that's always a little nerving part too, where you hopefully don't catch them too quick and have to react accordingly. So looks like we'll get, I believe, the whole field all back together. Ed DeBoer's just about to hit them. I'm a little nervous for Dean. He's still trying to pedal his way up there. So this, I don't know, Dean may not make it here in time. So, but Matt, we're going to restart this thing starting at lap number 11 here at the line. Gabe Butler, Jack Walls, our front row, continue to be at the front. Same with Robert Hooligan, as we are back to green here, starting lap 11. I'm watching Dean Wilkinson net intervals, and he's going to get there. So Dean's just able to make it time. You saw the flames come out. He's backing it down to make sure he doesn't gain any unfair advantage. But right now, I'm a little nervous, though, a little further back, though. Jason Bogart, he's a fair bit off these guys. They're already about 8/10 back. They got to make sure that they don't lose this draft right off the bat on this restart.
Oh yeah. I was sitting here looking. Sorry, I was playing a little bit of admin duty.
Oh, you're good.
For a minute.
I'm looking outside. Nathan Warner, that left front's definitely still pushing on him, so
right.
He might be okay to hold the draft, but definitely not going to be a car that's going to be good to lead the draft. Does look like these guys are going to be able to pull back up, so I think they're safe. But like I said, for Nathan, though, he's going to have to find somebody to tag back onto. Whereas up front, though, still kind of holding status quo. Those top three, Gabe, Jack, and Robert, say these three have pretty much been in these exact spots from the get-go there. So right now, one of the bigger movers now, though, again, talked about on the YouTube chat, rooting on Zach Perry in that 76. He is now in that top 5 in that number 76 machine. Also can add Mike Rimkus to the mix there as well in that 79. So he is up now 10 spots. So basically Mike up 10 spots, Zach Perry up 11, Jim Brooks up 13. So those guys able to avoid the trouble and get themselves right back to the front here. And then, unfortunately, I'm looking at the intervals here. Nathan Warner, even Dean Wilkinson's actually kind of having hard time hanging on. But unfortunately, Nathan Warner, that damage, it's just like you said, Matt, it's just too much. He's already fallen off the pack here. So unfortunately, he's either have to limp this thing around for a while, hope for yellow, or might have to just kind of take the hit, hit pit road, get a fast repair, and then see where he cycles out. Because right now, all drivers still on that lead lap.
Oh, Jack getting a little bit awfully close to Gabe there and kind of backed off there a little bit.
I feel like I've noticed this a lot. It seems like in these cars, I don't know if it's the way they drive or the track or what, but I feel like it's always been 3 and 4 of these cars. It almost feels like they get sucked together, as weird as it sounds. I haven't seen the issue as much in 1 and 2 as they say that they start to get a little tight once more. And again, it might be just them trying to steal a little bit of side draft to get some momentum. But you can see that it's really kind of shaking these guys up a little bit because that's slowed down the middle lane. And that let Rick Sanchez say, hey, you guys are backing down way too much here. I'm going to go for it here on the third lane. Right now, no help at the moment. But I think that 8 and the 071 are thinking about it. But we'll see now, can Rick do anything right now? Because right now he's kind of rolling solo in the third lane. And
yeah,
it's now we'll see if does he get maybe some slack. Does maybe Jim let him slot in if he gets back behind that 79 car? So but right now it's getting tight still.
Yeah, Rick can only stay up so high as much as he can, but Mike Rimkus is really close to Rick there. I think look at it, is that A car really going in the third eye?
Yep,
yes, he is
going to.
He's gonna give Rick some help. So don't worry, Rick, help's coming.
Oh man, he got super wiggly there, dude. Conrad, he caught it, but oof. This is where, if I'm in the middle, like if I'm Jim Brooks right now, I'm doing that. I'm rolling out of it and say, I want no part of this right now.
It looks like that second lane is kind of dying.
Oh, a little bit of contact.
Oh, hang on to it. You getting nervous? You're 3 wide. I'm getting nervous.
I think with the separation between Jack and Mike, well, as I say, that Jacob Lee says, all right, I'm going to fill the middle here. They do clear Mike Rimkus. I think Mike was the same thing. I think he's like, I want to get out of this. So they still continue 3 wide, though, because now Jacob Lee's up top with the 5. I said Jack Walls is waiting for help, and it looks like help will come in the form of that 8 of dude.
Jack is really pinching down there.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. I was saying Dude Conrad was right on the back of Jack Walls. Jack went to the inside lane. Dude kind of tried to follow him there, but I'll say that's where the 76 there of Zach Perry was. And man, these guys are Again,
Relentless.
we're in lap 17.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, we got a wreck.
Caution out, dude. Conrad got, I think, the worst of it. Well, actually, Rick as well. Both those guys severely damaged. And it just felt like a matter of time, unfortunately. It was just these guys were going so aggressive here. And yeah, unfortunately, I say a number of drivers involved once more in this one. I definitely saw the 5 and the 8 by far getting the worst of it. But I think I saw a handful of cars also catching piece. I think I saw the 21, Jacob Lee. I think, yeah, he's definitely got some damage there to his car. These guys look okay. I thought I saw, yeah, a little nose damage for Jim Brooks in the 51. So let's go back once more. Let's take another look at this one. And yeah, it's already kicked off. So let's go back even a little further here. All right, this will be plenty far back enough. So we'll focus on the 5 initially here. And yeah, it's just these guys are just, these cars look squirrely. And so right here you can see dude just slides up, and I mean it looks like there's gonna be a little bit of net code, but I think, yeah, and then right there they just get stuck together. That's gonna hook dude outside to the wall there, nose first. There's Jacob Lee getting the piece of it, and then he gets, okay, so he dig into the side of Bud Steele. Actually, wow, Bud went for a little bit of a ride there. See Jim Brooks actually. I'm watching as well. Oh man, I think Mike Rimkus just snuck around that one. And then also I'm watching Ed DeBoer here. He sees these guys sliding lower and lower, and he cuts it even further to the left there. So yeah, unfortunately, a number of drivers there getting a piece. And I see Jason, actually, yeah, Jason Bogart, a good chunk of damage there too. So yeah, so again though, Matt, again, right outside the top 3, top 5. You see again, a little center punch to the 51. The top 3 are good to go though. So we'll let the guys fix their stuff up. Gabe's gonna actually just drive on through. He's gonna come back in the next time around. So again, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back on the one to go. So stay tuned.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, as you can see, lights are off the pace car, and there are not a lot of cars on the track. That is because they are all on the pit road topping off, because we are going to restart this race with, I believe my numbers are right, 54 laps to go, which we talked about the fuel mileage being in that 27, maybe 28 range. These guys, if they want to make it to the end of the one more stop, they need to run 27 laps on each run to get to that 54 number. So it's happened. I say these guys are gonna have to try to figure out the strategy. It looks like there were a few lengthy pit stops. Bud Steele was about 1:08 on pit road the previous time around. Jason Bogart was about 1:40 in his machine. He's trying to catch back up the field. Looks like everybody's going to safely catch the field, so hopefully nobody losing the draft on the restart. Then, of course, now the question mark is just going to be kind of damage, who's got what on the repair side of things. So it's going to be interesting now. It's kind of a new strategy, a new kind of running order as well here. Let's say because you don't see the 83, you don't see the 88. They're back in 10th and 11th here. So really the only one who was up front from the get-go early on is Robert Hooligan. He's going to restart on the pole. He's going to have Frank Ranger to his outside, and then from there on back, it's going to be, well, actually I lied because here comes Jason Bogart on the outside. But basically, yeah, 2 rows of double file, and then it's going to be a lot of single file there. So those guys further back here got to make sure that they don't mess up on the restart here. Unfortunately, it looks like the 37 Nathan Warner an early retirement. But pace cars back here, and you're going to restart this thing with 54 to go. 27 per tank is going to be the magic number. And green flag is out, and we are back and away. Robert Hooligan going to lead the field. So Jason Bogart's going to sneak inside of Frank Ranger here. That's going to move him forward now up to the 3rd spot. Right behind them is going to be that 8 of Dude Conrad. And yeah, I mean, watching right now the strategies and stuff, I think we will see some drivers just not kind of push the issue too much. And again, I think really 3rd on back, you can really save a bunch of fuel in the draft. So I think we might see a little bit of an inside train. You see the 5 there dropping to the inside there with, I believe it's Jacob Lee. And again, we'll have to kind of see how the damage is looking for these guys. Looks like everybody's doing pretty well holding the pack here. But I do feel like that pace probably going to be a little slower than it has previously been. So we'll keep an eye. But right now, those 2 trapped up top, though. You got Frank Ranger, Eric Laurie right now, the only 2 up top. And I think Eric might, if they fall back a little further, Eric might have a reprieve with Gabe. Right now, these guys, kind of still stuck in the outside line. But I don't think they're content to just ride. It looks like they're going to try to get up to that 2nd spot. And again, talk about the pace right now. I don't think Robert's pushing as hard as he could. I don't think Bud's pushing him too hard. And that's going to allow Frank Ranger here to maybe get to the point. He'll lead this lap at the line just about. I'm not sure. It was close. But yeah, right now these 2 are still going after it pretty aggressively here to try to get to the front.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the onboard. Some of these guys further toward the back, and they're lifting quite a bit.
I'm looking at Mike Rimkus, though. He's starting to fall a little further back than I feel comfortable.
That's not good. He's right on the edge. He's right on that line. If you don't get going, if those cars in front, he's good. He's pulling up. Yeah,
there he goes. He kind of, and you're right though. Once he got into that window, it really pulled him forward here. So that's kind of what you have to hope for is just maybe that little checkup to bring you back into it. And honestly, it may have also been maybe Dean rolling out a little bit to try to pull him back in. So
yeah,
but yeah, it looks like right now it's strategy time though, Matt.
Yeah. It's Kevin's favorite thing, right?
It is. I know he loves fuel mileage races, but the thing is, I don't know if it's going to be too much of a fuel mileage race. I don't think they're going to be like dropping anchor or anything like that because, again, I was talking to drivers and I was hearing 27 to 28 range. So based on that, I feel like we should be able to make this happen. Most of the field they're topped off as well. So I think what might happen is some of these guys, once they get into that window where they know they can make it on one more stop, then they'll start to push the pace and try to force the other guys. But what did happen there is talk about pushing. Eric Laurie able to get Frank Ranger to the point. He's going to drop in front of Robert Hooligan. And we'll see where Eric can slot in. Maybe, I was going to say maybe he slots in front of Dude Conrad, but I think Dude's going to pick him up and they're going to try to push to the front here. Looks like those 2. Hop on board here with Dude Conrad in that number number 8 machine. As you saw Bud Steele for a moment, he was just off screen to the left there. But yeah, right now I'd say definitely no fuel save being done by these two, or even up front that 17 getting lots of pushes from that 126. But right now still again just crossed the third mark of the race here, starting lap 26 of 75. So yeah, so right now not a lot of saving like we talked about, Matt. It looks like again top two here running the outside line. Gabe Butler's looks like he's ready to join the party there as well in the 88, but he's going to have Zach Perry pop out in front of him. So he said, I'll go to the front with you as well. So they're going to try to push that outside lane here, and that's going to give a pretty solid 4-car pack up on that second line.
It's nice to see something new out front. Yeah, Frank Ranger, he never gets the the chance to run up front, lead some laps, and guess what? This is his time to shine.
Yeah, so he gets to show off that. Was I to say that? Oh man, Eric just cleared the. Again, you saw dude thought about trying to follow him along, couldn't quite do it. So he's going to have to lead that outside lane now with help from that 076. Or sorry, the 76 of Zach Perry. But yeah, I'd say for Frank though, say he gets to show off that Ranger Creative Concepts sponsorship on the hood. Say he's been able to do a lot of. Say it sounds like he does a lot of custom stuff for kind of trophies and things of that nature. So it's really cool to see him be able to kind of show off his business that he does on the side as well. So right now, though, like I said, though, still lots of time to go. And I think these guys just trying to position themselves for that potential next and final pit stop, depending on how this cycle goes. Now you got teammates lined up on the inside lane. Gabe's trying to get there, so we'll see what he can do. I'm not sure if he'll be able to push Zach Perry all the way clear or what the plan will be there. But again, I mean, earlier on it was Gabe, Jack Walls, and Robert Hooligan. Those are the three that really didn't change those top 3 spots. It's been up until this restart there as Frank Ranger drifts up just a teeny bit there and 3 able to gather back up. But yeah, it's been those 3 that were kind of in control right off the bat early on, but that last pit stop with the fuel cycle, it's kind of changed strategies up a teeny bit here.
A second lane's starting to creep up a little bit more and more and more. So I'm watching that 76 of Zach Perry and Gabe Butler, 126 of Robert Hooligan. I know Zach wants to get up there and lead some laps.
Oh, Gabe jumping to the middle.
Oh, they let Zach out to dry. I hope I didn't commentate your curse, did I?
I don't know, man. I'm wondering if that was actually maybe a planned thing, where maybe if I say obviously you can hear what the drivers are chatting about, but wonder if maybe Gabe was getting hot and Zach said, "Hey, you guys go on, take over." It's hard to say, but it did seem fairly well organized, I must admit. So. But you can see though Robert Hooligan though wasted no time. He tagged on right into the back with Gabe, and now let's say these 3 trying to get that outside line continue to form. And for Gabe, obviously, if he can clear, which he does there, and again we talked about that aggressive lane change to help kind of prevent that guy behind you from kind of drifting alongside with you, and that's why you'll see that big lane change from Gabe. Dude was, I'm sure, expecting it, and it's kind of helped prevent that second driver on the outside line, in this case Robert, to kind of drift along with him and potentially get into the door of somebody.
Well, look who's in the first 3 spots. Nothing but Team Boondock.
Yep, I was saying that's exactly, I think, what they want. They want to try to be able to control that inside lane, kind of keep themselves together. Again, strategy-wise, again, these guys just pretty much got to run this thing all the way out. So also of those that pitted, to say those 3 did top off on that one to go as well. Robert Hooligan did not, so he last pitted at lap 18. Frank Ranger was lap 18 as well, along with Bud Steele. So there's a few guys that have maybe just maybe a couple tenths of a gallon less fuel. But yeah, right now these guys continuing to kind of, like I said, just kind of log laps, I would say, is the best way to describe it. And yeah, Matt, I'm looking at lap times and nothing too. It's definitely not running considerably off pace. Running
Yeah.
in kind of the low 45s. Yes, there's some of the fast laps are in the mid high 44s. I think the fast lap actually might be a 43.96 by Frank Ranger. I say because that's gonna be those opportunities where you get a huge draft run, and it's like, oh man, that was close between the 126 and the 071 there. But yeah, you get these huge draft runs, and that'll pull you to a really quick lap. So that's why you'll occasionally see those big laps. But I mean, that time by was a upper 44. So yeah, so pace definitely not an anchor throwing type pace right now. I think these guys look to be fairly comfortable on the number.
Yeah, these guys are doing 203 on the backstretch.
Yeah, I think that tells you all you need to know. And so right now, let's say now it's started to kind of back it down a tiny bit. You can see now it's just the 2 cars on the outside line. And again, at some point, I feel like those guys, if they can't get up there, I think they need to try to find somewhere to slot into. The problem for Zach is he doesn't have his teammate until all the way back in about 12th position. And then I'm not sure for Robert if he's got anybody he's officially working with or not tonight. So same thing for him. He might have to try to find some friends, if you will, which is one of those things where being up front makes it usually pretty easy to, if you can be quick and consistent, hold steady lanes, stuff like that. That's an easy way to get some help. So we can do, Matt, as well. Things are a little bit calmer. Let's start off here with running through the field. And we're going to kick it off with our current leader in that number 88, our pole sitter as well, Gabe Butler. Right now leading this race here with his teammate right behind him of Dude Conrad in that number 8 machine. And to his outside is that 126 in the Lowe's Chevrolet of Robert Hooligan. Then we'll jump to the inside lane one once more, and that's going to be Eric Laurie in his iconic John Deere machine in the 071. Then we go to Zach Perry back to the outside lane in his number 76. And say he's got all the sponsors. If you got a sponsor, it might be on that number 76 car. Continuing back, you've got Jack Walls there in the number 83 Toyota. Behind him, Bud Steele in that Navy Ford Mustang. Tom Dixon in the Green Goblin machine there in the 411 right now inside the top 10 in 8th. Favorite son, Quabby Brooks there sitting in 9th. And say he's got the Natural Grocers machine on his Volkswagen. Then behind him, Dad Jim Brooks in the 51 machine. Started 19th, currently in 9th. And then just outside the top 10, saw him up front leading earlier. That's going to be Frank Ranger Jr. there in that number 17. And he's got about a half a second back to the 017. And that is Jason Bogart in the Flex Seal machine. And he's getting help from the number 5 of Rick Sanchez in his CarQuest Chevy. Then we go back to Jacob Lee with that Jacob Lee racing car with on the designs. I said I'm blanking on the design's name again here, Matt. Trying to get a good look at it. WB Creative Designs, I believe, is what it was on that number 5. Then you got Ed DeBoer in his Dodge SRT Challenger. In the 15th spot, Dean Wilkinson in the Happy Halloween, very scary, blood splattered number 55 machine there in 16th. And then Mike Rimkus in that BWT machine. Say definitely for those that watch F1, very familiar with that paint scheme there. Right now running in the 17th position. All of these drivers on the lead lap, still going to be vying for the win here. But like we talked about, everybody's still got one more pit stop at least to go.
Don't spoil it for me because I got it on record. Yeah, back in the day, you used to call it TiVo it.
No, VCR, man, that's where it was at.
TiVo, that's what it was. You know, remember that? You don't remember that?
Oh my goodness, yeah, no, definitely. I never got to use it, but yeah, oh man, these guys again running so tight on each other. Makes me nervous through 1 and 2 there. You saw the 126 and the 88 and then the 8 as well. Just about door to door here. And like I said, I mean, Robert and Zach, they're not giving up. They're trying to make this second lane work, but again, they just don't really have the numbers as of yet, but they just have not decided to give up as of yet at this point either. And Matt, we're just about to hit, I think, crossing halfway point this time around And again, we talked about that magic window being around 27, 28 laps. So we're not there yet, but we're definitely starting to approach that window. So we're at now officially 37 to go. So basically 10 more laps is what these guys need to make to split that right in half. Still wonder maybe a little damage or something for Jason Bogart, because he's about still that half-second back. I mean, they might just be giving themselves a little bit of margin, but car looks clean, fenders look good, so it might just be a strategy. But I think we're just, yep, there we go. Now we've got the train going. So what we'll do is, while we got that train going, we ran through the field. Now we're going to run side by side, show off our wonderful sponsor of Sensi. Say, as always, got to give some love to Ryan and Caitlin. So hope you guys are doing well, and I'll say got to give your company some love here. So stay tuned and we won't miss anything.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
As you can see, not much has changed. Dean Wilkinson said, all right, I'm done running. I'm ready to get towards the front here because I know pit stops are coming. So he's trying to work his way, and you can see he's just kind of picking them off little by little, trying to get a run, see if he can find an opening, slot himself in, as he's got no help right now. So we'll keep an eye on him. But right now, again, pace of the race did drop a little bit the last lap. Now it's picked up again just a little bit. But I mean, Dean's making it work here, and I think him doing his normal thing, where I think he, same thing, waited till he got to his number, and then went ahead and started making that charge. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him, looking for his partner in crime. That's gonna be Tom Dixon. Tom's up in 6th, Dean's back in 10th right now. So if he can get to Tom, that'll be pretty good for Dean right now, side by side with the 51 of Jim Brooks, and now cleared of him. Now running to that 126. Let's hop on board here with Dean Wilkinson, and we'll watch him kind of make these guys look like they're going slow, because so he's doing lap times all by himself. Maybe stealing a little bit of side draft, but nothing too crazy.
Well, I have all the teammates I see out here. The 411 would jump up. Kind of expect him to jump up there.
Well, I wonder if maybe he'll try to build a little bit of a gap, or maybe Dean can sneak in front of Tom. But hasn't happened yet. You don't see anything obvious, obviously. But that could be an opportunity for them to try to work something out. But I don't know. I think Dean's, like I said, I think Dean's probably hit his field number and say, you know what? I'm just going to see how far forward I can go. And I thought I saw in the background, I think some guys took notice and said, you know what? Let's do the same. And yeah, sure enough, we do. We see the 21 of Jacob Lee. See him locked on with the 5. Here comes the 76. So yeah, so Dean's kind of led the field here. Oh, as they say that, though, they're going to drop the 76 card. That's going to put the 21 to the 76. And actually, no, it's just going to be the 5 that drops low. It looks like Jacob's going to stay with Zach Perry in the 76 car. Let's see if Rick tries to clear himself back up in front. Nope, still stays behind Jim Brooks here. Nope, there he goes.
It's time to go.
Rick wants to lead the second lane. He doesn't want to be the pusher there.
I think he wants to win before he gets to his back surgery.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be something to get a good result there before doing something like that. I'd say it's definitely not a fun one. It's gonna be definitely, I'm sure, some significant recovery time. Say unfortunately my dad had to do that years ago, where I want to say they fused a couple of his vertebrae together. He's got carbon fiber in him. He's all futuristic now, but yeah, it was definitely some significant recovery time. So definitely hope that everything goes smooth and a quick and full recovery, though, because that's definitely going to be a big one to do. However, Matt, we're talking about Dean. He found his way to the bottom. He's got his teammate Tom Dixon now right behind him. I think that's exactly what he was hoping for. But like I said, now these guys, they said, all right, we did our saving. We were waiting. Now it's time to drop the hammer and get to the front here. So that's why you see those three going. The only one we don't see in that group is Jason Bogart. But again, I think Jason might still be limping a little bit of damage possibly in that Flex Seal car. So I think that might be why he opted to just stay in line here.
Oh, look at here.
Yeah,
Richard wants to take over the lead.
They're there. And Matt, we talked about pit stops, and we always have to talk about mistakes. But again, we also talk about where you pit from. So right now, Ed DeBoer's the last car in this lead pack. He's 1.7 seconds off of the 5 and the 88. So again, that means basically going to pit road, he'd be at almost a 2-second deficit. So any mistake you make, you already have that much margin going against you. So those are things that you got to be aware of. And I'm already getting a little nervous. I see Frank Granger. He's fallen off the back a little bit. And early pit stop for Jason Bogart. This, I don't like this because he's by himself.
Yeah.
And it's 28
bad.
to go. That's Jason's going to need a little bit of help here, unfortunately.
You figure he'd save more fuel since he was on the back.
I think he was probably. I think he did have some damage that he was probably limping, and so I think he was probably not able to part throttle.
Fuel.
Yeah, exactly. He was having to stay full throttle. Everybody else is probably able to pedal it.
Yeah, that's rough.
So this time by Matt would be right on the split in the middle window. So I'm curious to see if anybody's going to come in now. I think if they can go further, they will, just to give themselves a little bit of wiggle room. But here we go. We're going to have a whole bunch of them come in together, and it is a big pack of cars. Oh, contact 53 and the 83. Jack Wall's going to try to get back in line. I think Jack's unfortunately going to have an unsafe entry due to the contact with he and Quabi. And again, that's the thing. It's not just getting in pit road. You got to nail your stalls. You see the 53 overshoots his just a teeny bit.
Oh, that's going to cost
a
me.
little quick reverse there for Mike Rimkiss as well.
He's still adjusting.
Yeah, it's tough. I saw right side tires go on the 88. Looks like 2 tires for him. Looks like it's going to be Dude Conrad winning the race out of pit road here. Now these two, I was watching Gabe and Robert. They're right on top of each other. Now they get underway. And here comes the second pack. They're going to jump in together. Looks like just the 4 of them.
Here they come.
And so this is a much calmer entry with just the 3 and then 4 with Ed, actually. We talked about Ed, though. Look at the gap he had behind. He was still about maybe a second on entry. So this is where Ed's going to have to really try to hustle here. And then too good of a fuel saving now for Tom Dixon because he's out there by himself, Matt. So this is going to be a fairly slow lap for Tom. Maybe he can steal a little bit of draft in front of him off Jason Bogart. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye. But it looks like there is some separation from this lead pack, which we'll go over here in just a moment.
Well, good news for your favorite son. He is pretty much almost close to latching on to the 76 and 21 and 5. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to say, yeah, pit penalties for Jack Walls and Quabi Brooks there, unfortunately. So that drops them a fair bit back as well. And right now, I'd say Tom Dixon has hit pit road. I'm saying an advantage goes to Rick and company because they're going to get up to speed, I think, before the 8 and company even get there. So really great job by these guys. Look at the ticker on the left right now. Jack Walls, Quabi Brooks, those are the 2 drivers that are a lap down at the moment. And right now, Jack is... Actually, Jack's going to be tail end of the lead lap, I believe, right now. He's just got to basically wait for it to fully cycle. Yeah, so now he'll go to tail end because Tom Dixon's just leaving pit road. And
look
like
at dude, look at that train up top.
There's the
they
momentum.
Are just going.
However, they've had to push really hard, Matt, and these guys on the inside, they had that extra lap, so there's less concern of saving if I'm Rick, if I'm Jacob, and Zach and company. So I kind of like where those guys are. Yes, obviously the pace is good with these guys, getting now back to the point, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable fuel mileage-wise if I'm Rick and company. You see Jack Wallace here. He's going to run to that third lane, let these leaders go on by, and then he and Quabi Brooks will be going for the lucky dog, which I'll say these guys working together. I have a feeling that the 53 is going to probably pick up the 83 to make sure that they can both stay in the draft. And yeah, there goes Jack, there goes Quabi. So I think right now they're going to kind of just plan on run together here to try to, same thing, make sure they don't lose the draft, but then also try to work together. So yeah, right now I say, Matt, and say, so this is the lead pack. It goes from the first of Dude Conrad, which now Bud Steele working on the point. Back to Ed DeBoer. Ed did a good job. We talked about my concerns for him losing the draft, but he did a good job entry and exit and hitting his pit stall. He's in the lead pack. Unfortunately, you see this pack here, Mike Rimkus, Dean Wilkinson, Jim Brooks, they've fallen off that pack. Frank Ranger, Jason Bogart as well, just about a little over a second off of those three. And then we talked about Tom Dixon, just one lap too many. Tom needed to pit with those other guys because he had that one lap without any draft, and that kind of did him in there. So, yeah, Tom's going to need a bit of luck here. Maybe get a timely caution. And I'm watching the 83 and the 53. I don't know if they're going to sit and just try to stay the one down and go for the lucky dog. I think they're going to try to get the lap back the old-fashioned way here, which I'm a little torn about. I feel like it's a little too hectic up front here again. Talladega, sure. Daytona, I'm not as comfortable doing it. So, or maybe they're trying to get the numbers up where their teammate Bud Steele is trying to vie for the lead here right now.
Well, the 83 and the 53 are fighting.
Yep, there goes Jack. Yeah, he's going to hit that third lane here, so he's going to try to, I think Jack's going to try to get to the tail end of the lead lap if he can. But again, I mean, it's definitely a risk versus reward here when, I mean, we've seen it done, we've seen it work before, by no means, but yeah, you can see right now but the thing is, like we talked about before, Matt, it's a squeeze here at Daytona.
Yeah, it is very a squeeze, but you have no help with going to that third lane, and you have to have help at all times. And it looks like Quabi is probably, maybe looks like he's interested.
I think he wants to. I don't think the comfort is there. Is kind of where I'm thinking right now with the 53. I think he's just not quite comfortable locking on there. But again, though, what could happen is at some point someone else say, like, hey, you know what? This actually isn't a bad idea. However, if Jack can clear Bud Steele, I think then you could see those two lock on together and try to have the 6 push to 83 in front of the 88. But yeah, right now, like I said, just Jack doesn't have the numbers. And you can see also a little further back there, Mike Rimkus, they've got all of those guys now together, including Frank Ranger and Jason Bogart. That's great for their lap times. Last time by, they were 45.30, leaders 45.21, so only a tenth of a second slower. So that's not a bad place to be. I'm actually, I think you're feeling pretty good if you're those guys because you're holding station. You're not in this little kind of gaggle of cars where these guys kind of starting to squeeze each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were 2 tenths faster that last lap.
Yeah,
so
45.18 to 36.
I'll keep my eye on them. Don't count them guys out. But the problem is, the issue is fuel mileage there, Gael.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to see when they all pitted. Yeah, Jacob and Ed went to lap 49, so really good job by them. Actually, Rick as well, I apologize. So, yeah, so the other guys, you're right, though, they all pitted at 48, so that was right at that 27 lap marker that we talked about. So, but you're right, though, if they're going quicker, they're probably burning more fuel, so they got to make sure they can hit that number to the end. So, we'll look at lap times one more time. There's a 45.19 for Dude Conrad. Looking for Mike Rimkus was a 45.27, so just under a tenth of a second slower. But yeah, these guys still going after it here, pretty decent.
Let's see, this time around, they were a tick slower there, Gael.
Yeah, not by much, though.
Yeah.
So right now, like I said, these are the top 9 here battling for the lead. The 83 and the 53 right behind. Those two are both 1 lap down. Again, if there's a caution and they're not involved in it, at that point they would act. One of them would get the lap back. Right now, Jack is in that position. And yeah, I saw a little bit of looked like reorganizing the second pack, Matt. And unfortunately, that definitely cost them because they were 0.2 of a lap slower. So I think they're trying to change kind of who is maybe the pusher and all that. So sometimes that reorganization will cost usually a couple tenths, but hopefully he'll be able to regroup. I just saw Jacob Lee here. He's actually dropped back now behind Jack Walls. Maybe Jacob just kind of making sure he's going to be in a safe position on fuel even maybe. Although no, Jacob went to 49, so curious to see what the strategy is for Jacob here, but opting to kind of roll back a little bit, maybe just try to play it safe right now in case these guys start to get a little too dicey.
I think Jack is just having the urgency of but at the same time, I would not be worried. I think Jason is trying to get in front of 83 because he wants to stay with his teammate. Because I know he's running with Rick in the same Discord. I think that's just kind of his plan.
Yes, I know Jacob was working with Zach as well in the 76. So,
yes.
And what might happen at some point too is, I mean, obviously, when we get closer, I'd say once we get closer to the finish, we might start to see the lap cars kind of shake things up a little bit. But again, for Jack, though, I mean, he's got a teammate there on leading the outside lane with Bud Steele. So it's also in Jack's best interest to try to see if he can get as close to Bud as he can to give Bud a good chance to have a chance to win this race. So, I mean, we've seen it happen before. Even earlier this week, we saw, I believe it was, I don't remember, it was Bob Fitzgerald or somebody. He was a lap down, but he almost was able to get that outside line to the lead. Just wasn't quite able to get all the way there. So, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, lap cars can definitely help influence a race, pushing a teammate or just maybe a friend or just kind of the situation they got put in. So, I say, and I don't think there's any formal rule about kind of rolling over for the guys. I think they just ask, like, if you're getting lapped, just kind of safely let the leaders go on by. So, other than that, I think it's pretty fair game within reason. That said, Matt, we're down to 15 to go here. Again, anybody in this top 9 here can win it. Jack's gone back to the third lane. He wants to try to get further up the running order. Jacob Lee's going to squeeze. Oh, that's going to cause trouble. Contact between them right now.
Oh,
no
boy.
Yellow yet. Now it's all about if these guys stay pointed in the right direction. And yeah, everybody stay pointed in the right direction, so we will stay green. That's a tough break for those guys that now lose the draft due to it. So right now that's going to bring a top 4, it looks like, breakaway, top 5 breakaway, with the 8, the 88, the 071, the 6, and the 5. Unfortunately for Ed DeBoer and Robert Hooligan, let's say they fell off of that pack. And like I said, I think it was just kind of these guys were fighting for that real estate, unfortunately. So see if I can go back and say if I can try to catch where it was. See if I went back far enough. Not quite. So we'll pick it up here. We'll focus on Jack Walls. So you see Jack goes to the third lane. Jacob's, I think, going to try to fill the middle here. And then, yeah, right there. And they just kind of meet in the middle. Kind of, again, both fighting for the same real estate. And then you see, yeah, the 76-21 as well. And I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be basically both these guys have their own opinions of what could have, should have happened, if you will. So what that does do, though, is it really shook up the Lucky Dog running order, too, because now it's actually Tom Dixon who just got put a lap down. Now Tom's actually the first car one down. Quaby Brooks has fallen off the draft here, so he is right now the second car one down. Then, like we mentioned, though, those guys that fell off that pack, they've now fallen back to the group. Other than these two here, the 12 and the 126, but I said this pack is starting to grow now with Mike Grimkist, Dean Wilkinson, Jim Brooks, and then these guys are all tagging onto it, so that this pack is going to become bigger. But again, at this point, I don't think there's enough time for them to recover it, because I'm looking at the intervals, and yeah, they are about almost 8 seconds off the lead. So right now, it's going to be up to Rick and Bud, I think, to try to find a way to compete against the boot knockers. But again, they can kind of, I wouldn't say bide their time, but a little bit by their time because there's still 12 to go. And I think if you're these guys, you don't want to push the envelope too hard because right now you know you can sell it amongst yourselves.
Oh, looks like Ed had a little bit connectivity issue. And it dropped to 126. Now he's falling back a little bit.
Yeah, I say Robert's going to tag on right here, hopefully to stay on these guys. I say he's going to have Jacob Lee and them pack on, so I think he'll be all right. But yeah, you're right, though. Unfortunately, it looks like Ed's fallen out, which is unfortunate. Say, obviously from bad to worse there for him, getting kind of caught up in something not of his own doing, losing the main draft, and then having a connectivity issue.
That makes me want to just... I feel your pain, brother. I really do.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those. It's like, well, I guess definitely was not supposed to be my night tonight then.
Well, this pack is about to become bigger, but fortunately, I think they're going to run out of laps.
Yeah, right now there's not enough laps, and honestly, the lap times aren't going far enough. It was only a 45:15 for Mike Rimkus leading the second pack, 45:21 for Duke Conrad leading the first pack. So, yeah, right now this basically, like I said, without a caution, it's these 5 that are being vying for the win and for the podium tonight. And like I said, if I'm these guys, I don't push the issue right now. I just like obviously but as I say that, they're still going to be battling hard. But yeah, like I don't push the issue too hard because I mean, obviously it's gonna be tough sledding for the 6 and the 5 up against the 3 teammates on the inside lane.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to wait until you get to that white flag. And I think if you're Rick, like you've talked about, Matt, depending on what the temperatures are doing, just get that 5 car as cooled off as you can, and then just lock onto the 6 and just kind of push till there's no tomorrow, and see if maybe you can out drag him. Because again, something we've talked about too, Matt. We feel like the middle lane is kind of the preferred place to be in these races at the end of the race because you can kind of keep that momentum built up a little bit on the top side. Inside line, you kind of have to pinch a little lower. You kind of lose a little bit of that momentum on exits. So I think that's where, even though they have 2 to the 3, I think that could still be an advantage for Bud and Rick here.
I'm looking toward the back. That 21 and 76 are flying.
Yeah, they're able to lock on together. They will get back up to this main pack as well. Unfortunately, in that process, they did drop Robert Hooligan, which is same thing. Unfortunately, nothing of his own doing, just wrong place, wrong time. And then, like you said, just to kind of rub salt in the wounds, lost his drafting help as well. And so, yeah, and then just was too much momentum lost for him to get back out there. So right now, though, like I said, also on the Lucky Dog side of things, still Tom Dixon. I mean, he's still comfortably in that spot. He's got about 14 seconds on the 53 of Quabi Brooks and Jack Walls. So right now, like I said, he's still in that catbird seat on the Lucky Dog side of things if something were to occur. But we still got 7 laps to go to settle this one, Matt. And the other thing to me is usually what I start to see in these things is the mistakes don't happen up front. It's the guys further back that start maybe try to push a little too hard to try to bring that gap back down. Because I can say they have shrunk it a little bit. It's down to about 6.7 last time by. Actually, last time I was identical lap times for Mike as well as Dude. But yeah, I have seen that from time and time again where the second pack will just like, come on, we can do it. If we push hard, we can catch them. But at the same time, I think those guys can kind of see, hey, we're 6 seconds back. There's 6 to go. We're probably where we are. But same thing, at some point they'll start to dice it out with each other to try to get the best result they can for the end of the race.
Yeah, unfortunately, those guys only made about 0.3 of a second. But, Gaio, if you're sitting in Rick Sanchez's seat, what do you do?
I think he's going to be doing what he's doing right now, and that's just he's going to stay locked onto the 6. He's going to push as hard as he can. I feel like these guys, I know they've had their run-ins in previous seasons, but I think they've actually they've gotten on a lot better lately. And as saying, I mean, we know Rick really well as we're 5 to go here, Matt. they get, I'd say, and Rick's just one of those guys, he loves to push people to wins. I mean, of course, he wants to win himself, but he's one of those guys that really likes to be able to try to help other guys win this race as well. So, like I said, I think for Rick here, he's got to make sure he gets those temps in check, get him as cool as he can without losing too much momentum, and then you saw right there, he's going to try to give Bud as hard of a shot as he can and see if he can get that number 6 car to the outside of the 8. And then as I say, you'll see these guys start to get a little greedy, probably start to side draft a little harder, just do whatever they can to try to see if they can win this race. But again, yeah, really big shot there again from the 5 to the 6. And you can see, I mean, there's that ebb and flow. You see this time, this is about the closest Bud's been. He's going to get right to the door of Dude here entering 1. And at some point...
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Saying at some point, that's what they're going to do is they're just stay locked on. And let me look right now. The momentum definitely shifting to that outside lane right now. Bud is ahead of that 8. Won't be enough to clear him by any means. But this is exactly what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to time it. And they're going to need to figure out, okay, when do we make that push? You see right there, Bud try to squeeze the 8 down just a teeny bit here. And again, this is where they got to be careful. You don't want to side draft too hard because these cars will easily hook together. So we'll see if they can keep it here. Like I said, this is where you don't want to take too many risks yet because we still got 3 more to go. And you don't want to bring 10 more cars into this fight for the win. But yeah, if I'm the 5, though, you saw if I'm in the 6, like, hey, that worked. Let's figure out the timing now where we can basically be full momentum here coming to that checkered flag. And also, Matt, you're talking about the second pack. Remember we talked about them fighting with each other? Here we go.
Oh.
They're 2 by 2 and they're pushing and pushing hard because same thing. You don't want to finish 12th. You want to finish 7th or 6th. So these guys are giving it all they've got here as well in these final couple laps.
I mean, wouldn't you? It points count for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 8 races over the course of the season, and then at that point, then we get to the playoffs, so you got to try to get to that top 12. So, Matt, we're 2 to go here. You can see, again, they had a charge. It kind of fizzles out a little bit, so they'll have to regroup and do it again. And also, you have to wait. At some point, do we see any change of plans here from the 8, the 88, the 071? And man, right now I'm sure this lead pack or the second pack is thinking, man, if we just start pushing a little harder, I feel like they've closed the gap even further. But yeah, we're coming to the white here, Matt. If they can get through 3 and 4 in the tri-oval, at this point it would be an official race. So we'll see if they can get there. Again, you're going to start to see the aggressive driving here though, Matt, as we get to that white flag, and we are 1 to go here. Right now it's these 5. If anything happens, we could bring the second pack into the mix here. Can the 88 and the 8 hold off the 6 and the 5?
My God, I don't know what's up Rick's sleeve.
Yeah, we'll say he's kind of building up the momentum. He's trying to get to the 6 car now, but you can see also I think Gabe was holding back too because now Gabe has just been deadlocked onto the back of the 8 of Dude Conrad. And so now they just need to try to hold a steady wheel to see if they can get through 3 and 4. You see Buddy's trying to steal as much draft as he can, maybe pull the 88 off the 8, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be Dude Conrad getting the win over Gabe Butler. But Steele will grab 3rd position to at least break up the 1, 2, 3 for Bootnaka.
Oh, we got a wreck in the second pack.
Jump back to the second pack. Mike Grimkus is going to win over Dean Wilkinson, 6th and 7th. And trying to see. Oh, yeah, it looks like Zach Perry had some trouble at the very end as well. But in the end, though, it is going to be this man right here, Dude Conrad, getting the win here tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to beat 3 on 2.
3 on 2, teammates, very accomplished super speeder racers. I mean, you name it. And also, Matt, this is 2 in a row for Dude. He won last week at Talladega as well as he's doing. Oh man, that's a picture perfect slide through the Daytona lettering on the infield. Really good job there by Dude. You know what? Actually, Matt, we got to pull that back because that was impressive. We're gonna do that one more time, slow motion, because well done. Look at this, man. Let's see if we can get a closer shot of this one. He's able to hook it through the grass mat, and he just completely slides right through the lettering, pretty much perfectly, dead centered, all the way. Let's say the guy that painted the Daytona sign is going to be upset about it, but really, really good job by dude there. That's impressive stuff. So we'll jump back live and watch him do some burnouts. There's his teammates celebrating with him. And while we watch them celebrate, we will pull up our final results. I see Dude Conrad getting the win over his teammate Gabe Butler as they do their dueling burnouts on the front stretch wall. Bud Steele able to sneak around Eric Laurie for third. Rick Sanchez did all he could to help Bud, but couldn't quite get them there, but still a top 5 for him. And then, yeah, like I said, that battle for the 6th space on back, Mike Rimkus able to grab that over Dean Wilkinson. And then Jim Brooks, Jacob Lee, Frank Ranger Jr. grabs a top 10. And then Jason Bogart, Zach Perry, 11th and 12th. Again, Robert Hooligan just unfortunately lost that main pack. That dropped him back to 13th, not indicative of what he had going tonight. And then Tom Dixon, Jack Walls, and Quaby Brooks, 1 down. And then, unfortunately, a disconnect for Ed DeBoer. And then early retirement there for Nathan Warner. So now we got to chat with some drivers. And we are going to kick it off with this Bud Steele fella. So let me grab him and pull him on in over here. And Bud, it was going to be a hard-fought one there. Say 3 versus 2, all teammates locked on. You knew they were going to stay committed to each other, but I mean, to still at least be able to break up the 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm guessing that's probably. I mean, there was a point where you had just a nose ahead of Dude, but I'm guessing that was probably one of those, like, I'll get what I can get, and yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, appreciate Eric keeping me up there until. Well, I don't know what happened behind us, and Rick kind of saved me there by coming up from wherever he came from. But thank God he did. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's 3-on-2 with those guys. It's near impossible. So great job to them.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of the story of that last part. Obviously, like I said, the incident that I say, fortunately, unfortunately, I'll say depending on the outcome, I'll say everybody stayed pointing in the right direction, so it wound up staying green there. But yeah, so that obviously took out a bunch of potential helpers. Obviously, you had a few teammates that were kind of in the mix to be able to help, and obviously when there's more cars, there's more opportunities and all that as well. But and then the fuel mileage, obviously we were right on the edge around that. I think it was lap 54 to go on the restart. So it was kind of like, okay, as long as you go 27, you should be good. Was there any saving needing to be done, or did you guys maybe just kind of give yourself a little bit of margin just to be safe?
I didn't even think. I figured we had enough, so I didn't care what the fuel mileage was at that point. I thought, we're good to the end. So no, I didn't try to save anything, but I don't. I think maybe I had a lap and a half left, I believe.
No, so you had plenty of fuel.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Until something happened. Yeah, I mean, there had been a caution, green, white checker. It had been a whole different story.
Yeah, so yeah, you never know how those are going to shake things out. But what I can tell you is that podium, though, jumps you up 4 spots up to 6th in the points. So obviously adds a little bit of breathing room because we just crossed the halfway of the regular season with this being race number 5. I mean, do you look at anything race by race, or do you go with kind of just the just like, hey, I do want to look at big picture, or is that one that's too soon to worry about that yet?
Just trying to have best finish without having damage and going laps down, but until the playoffs begin, yeah, just gonna try to run a smart race and be there at the end.
Well, that was exactly what you did tonight, sir. So before we let you go, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Well, again, appreciate Eric helping me there for a while. So I was an honorary boot knocker for 10 laps maybe, but and then appreciate Rick pushing there at the end. I know he was getting hot, just trying to stay connected, but gave it a go. And thank you all, Green White TV, and appreciate everything you do, Gael, and all the guys in Area 51. It was a fun race, and always thankful for my beautiful wife and everything she does for me. So until next time.
Great job tonight, bud. We'll see you in a week. Let me know if you're going to be giving candy or trick-or-treating yourself. I'll be curious to see what costume you got. No, have a great one, though, bud. Great job tonight, sir, and I look forward to see you again on track soon.
All right. Thanks, Gaia.
All right, Matt. I was thinking the exact same thing as you because
both at the same time. I was going to ask you.
No, I think it's perfect because that was the dedication of the teammates. We saw the boot knockers lined up together on the inside, and there's no. I mean, we knew there was no question there wasn't going to be any shenanigans of a light move being made. It was okay. Dude got out in front of the restart. That's where the commitment's going to stay, and. I mean, obviously, Gabe, you had to still work for it. You couldn't just roll over there, but it definitely looked like there was a point where I think it was pretty much at the white flag. It's like, okay, time to really, really push to show what I've got. Because there's a few points where we saw the 6, we saw the 5 get alongside of Dude, but was that just you guys saying like, hey, let's just do enough to maintain so they can't clear, and then we'll go full tilt if we need to at the end? Or take us through the strategy there, that last bit.
I mean, you nailed it right in the head there. I mean, that's exactly what it was. Just save enough for the end as far as temps go, and just do enough in the meantime to keep Dude ahead where they can't clear. And then we told Eric just to be as close as he can to me for the last lap, and then we just pushed the heck out of it. But the two guys on the outside did a hell of a job kind of side drafting us to even be there at the end. So fair play to them. But yeah, it's nice to get a 1-2-4 for boot knocker.
Yeah, it was a great result, and you mentioned the side draft. I mean, that seems like it's a really big risk versus reward in these cars with the fact that they're not a symmetrical car. So, and obviously, I mean, in iRacing, there's net code and all that. So, I mean, was there any concerns like I want to maybe try to squeeze a little bit, but there's that chance of something going wrong? Or I mean, how do you balance that one?
Well, the fear is the right rear net code. However, if you're side by side and you really want to pinch down, I think you're okay doing that. But it's just when your right rear and the other car's left front are close together, that's when it gets really sketchy. Door to door, not too bad. So, just try and get side by side and then pinch.
We talked pre-race. I was mentioning to you, like, man, it just feels like you haven't had any luck. Is this one of those ones where it's like, okay, maybe the monkey's finally off your back?
Yeah. I mean, stayed out of the wrecks, was able to pit when we needed, and yeah, monkey off the back anyway for this Sunday series. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's nice when things go well. And you're right. I say there was those couple incidents that pretty much I think it was you, Dude, and you, Robert, and Jack Walls. Like the first couple, it was right behind the three of you. It seemed like initially, and then obviously once that caution came out right in the pit window, that's where things kind of shook up a bit. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. And luckily, let's say maybe you got the extra week off on Thursday, I should say. Sorry, to kind of hopefully shake that off even further and then come back strong the rest of the way, which I feel funny that we talk about bad luck when with your 5 starts, you've got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. But yeah, I'll say, but maybe it's because we're going to talk to your teammate there in the 8 car who's got 3 starts, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and those 2 top 5s are wins and 2 in a row there, Mr. Dude.
Yeah, this just goes to the team, and during the off season, I did a lot of pits, running down pit road as fast as I could, and even as long as we've been doing this, I still needed to practice. I was terrible at it last year. Got it, you know. I don't know if I could have helped them guys get a win last year, but I stayed in the back most of the time after pit road and got lucky and got a top 5 every now and then. But man, that Gabe Butler, I tell you what, all the accolades he has, I don't think they realize how great of a pusher he is. I mean, I had no doubt whatsoever we was going to get that checker. And like he said, Bud and I'm not sure who was behind him. They did an awesome job, you know, by themselves up there. But man, he's something else.
Yeah, no, as say, it's one of those things. If you see, as long as you feel like he's going to stay behind you, yeah. If you see that 88 in your mirror, you're going to be in a good spot there for sure. So I'm spot on. I agree with you there. And so Gabe, I can tell you with tonight, saying obviously with Vince missing tonight, though, you jump up into the points lead. So that's obviously not there yet for the playoffs, but obviously a good spot to be. Dude, I can tell you, you've jumped a ton from obviously the win last week, the win this week. You're up another 6 spots tonight, up into the top 9. So at the moment, already not locked in, but already in the playoff for the top 12. So, I mean, do you look at all at the playoff? I guess Bud is saying, do you guys look at playoff stuff at all for strategies and maybe risk versus reward, or is it just at this point still too soon and just doing it one race at a time?
I don't know. I can't speak for Gabe, but I just take it race by race, really. It's not that it's easy to get into the playoffs, but, you know, the results take care of that, you know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Are you kind of the same approach there, Gabe?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're only as good as your last race, and I mean, yeah, you can't look too far ahead. Just look forward to the next race and go from there, and then, you know, play it by ear and see how that particular race develops. And if you start planning too much ahead, then you just start making mistakes. So it's to me anyway, it's a lot easier for me not to look too far ahead other than the next race.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, because I had a recent one where I was overthinking the end of a race and it just all went completely haywire. So yeah, it's actually a really good point. So we'll do it in order there as well. So before we let you guys go and celebrate with your other great helper there of Eric Laurie, Gabe, as always, man, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that runner-up this evening?
Well, yeah, Eric definitely deserves a big mention. He's been a big part of the team for years there, and he did what he had to do and got Dude a great win there. So big shout out to Dude for the win and Eric for the fantastic pushing behind me. And of course, Area 51 for putting on this great league. The racing's always a blast. And all the drivers tonight. I mean, I think everybody did really well. This car can be a little bit tricky here at Daytona. So yeah, looking forward to next week.
And also a really good job on the dueling burnouts, guys. That was well executed. Us, we're showing it now as we interview you guys. So, Dude, floor is now yours as well. Any thanks and shouts for that win this evening, sir?
Just Gabe and Eric and Kevin being patient with me last season. I was in and out. You know, just work's crazy right now. But it's best to slow down, and I try to be more of a valuable teammate. You know, pushing them guys up to front and staying behind them. Just got to stay good on pit road. But other than that, just thanking you guys for the broadcast. Like I said last week, I love watching these races or showing some, you know, my friends around here these races, and it's a blast to watch.
Nah, it's a lot of fun putting them on. Like I said, you guys make it easy to do because you guys always put on really great racing. So we'll let you guys go celebrate with Eric. But yeah, great job tonight on the 1-2 guys. And like I said, 1-2-4 for the team as well. So it's a very, very solid run tonight. And of course, enjoy the break on Thursday and look forward to seeing you guys back here in 1 week time.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, bud.
All right, Matt. Those are our top two. Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler, with the very well organized dueling burnouts there up against the front wall there. But yeah, just great teamwork between the two of them there. And well, actually, I should say all three of them. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And that's what's made this team so successful, is just how selfless they are. And like I said, there was never any question. Once we saw what was happening, it's like, yep, we know that they're going to stay locked on together. And
yeah,
they did exactly. Gabe managed his temperature, said, okay, now it's time to go. I'm going to lock on. And you're exactly right. And then Eric's job is he can't really push Gabe, but the tighter he stays to Gabe, the more that line's going to kind of keep pushing forward, and that's what makes that team so good and so dangerous. And they showed exactly why that was tonight.
Yeah, I pretty much got no words. We didn't have green flag pit stops, which kind of kept the field in check. But unfortunately, we had that one little incident. No caution came out, kind of spread the field out a little bit. But that team prevailed, stayed out of trouble, and was able to come home with a victory.
Yep, and
back victories.
Yeah, back to back for Dude, and and like I said, stayed ahead of the trouble when it happened, and saying that's just the way this league is they try to stay as hands off as possible. Try to kind of is like, oh well, you threw yellow there, why not maybe a yellow here? And I mean, it just opens up a can of worms. So I like the way it's done here, just as hands off as possible. So, but yeah, Matt, as always, pleasure doing these with you. Appreciate it. And yeah, I say I hope you enjoy the Thursday off. I say. Like I said, make sure you get your candy lined up, and because otherwise you don't want those kids getting mad at you.
Oh man, keep them away from the doors. Actually, they don't come down to Oriah. I'm out in BFE.
All right. Well, we usually get a lot, so I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to do. So, everybody watching and supports us here at Green White Checker TV, thank you so much for being a part of it. It's always fun to see you guys hopping on, cheering on your favorite drivers. Like I said, we'll be back in 1 week's time with these cars again, and then we'll be back after that on the Thursday night. But like I said, we will be off this upcoming Thursday for Halloween. So, of course, have a wonderful, safe, and fun Halloween. And until then, take care, stay safe, have a good night. We'll see you in 1 week's time.